Mind the gap.
Oops, sorry about that. I'm Benson, the Fitness Concierge, and welcome to my Mind the Gap series. This is the third series that's going to be released weekly on my YouTube channel, the Fitness Concierge. The other two series, How To series and the Thinking Out Loud series, hopefully they'll be coming useful and part of your week. And this one, Mind the Gap, I believe will be just as useful for people. And in this we're going to be addressing the gap. And the gap for me is around the gap in knowledge, the gap in context, the gap in honesty, that can often be a big barrier to people achieving their goals when working with a coach, a trainer, an instructor, a therapist, a counsellor, whatever it is that you've got support for or you're seeking support for. Please, please, please mind the gap. Okay, now in this example I'm going to talk about time. So one of the biggest barriers that comes up in conversations between a health and fitness professional and the client is that the client lacks time. Now sometimes the trainer and the coach or the counsellor or whoever can be at fault in just assuming that that person is making that up and that they actually have more time than they're admitting to. Sometimes that can be a fault on our part as the professionals, so we need to make sure that we're minding the gap, and until we've got all of the context and the knowledge, we don't start making judgments. But from a client perspective, what you need to do is also mind that gap and make sure that the gap in knowledge, so between what's really going on in your world and what your coach knows, that gap can't be too big. If that gap is too big, your results will suffer massively. Okay, now as soon as you feel comfortable, and hopefully you've done some research before you start working with your coach or trainer, but as soon as you feel comfortable, you need to start being honest and open with them. Okay, if you've got the right person, they will not judge you, they will help you, they will guide you. But if your time, for example, if when you tell your coach you really struggle for time, so you can't do a home workout, you can't prepare your food, you can't do XYZ, when they ask you, and most good coaches will ask you what time you really do have available and what things could be manipulated or moved or sacrificed to create more time, if you're watching an accumulative amount of 10 hours a week of reality TV, including the follow-up shows they have after the reality TV shows and all that, like you're really into a particular thing and it's taking up 10 hours of your week when you're honest and work it out, but you're telling your coach that you just watch it now and again because your kids watch it or your other half watches it. Your coach has only got that information to work with, so they might be putting pressure on you to get things done that just aren't going to happen for as long as you're dedicating 10 hours a week on top of life to watch this reality TV show. Now if you watching this reality TV show makes you feel better and it's causing no one any harm, long may you continue. But your coach needs to know, and you need to be straight with them and say, look, do you know what, Benson, I absolutely love it, I look forward to it every day, it's like one of the most sort of satisfying parts of my week is watching this show, I don't want to give it up. Then I can help you, and as a good coach I should go, okay, cool, as long as that's not replacing or distracting from other things that we need to address, then carry on watching your reality TV show for 10 hours a week. We will find another way because I'm a good coach and I will help you. But if that gap in knowledge is so big that I just think you now and again watch it with the kids or your other half, I'm going to start thinking there's more time in your week. So that's just one example, and it's a real life example because I've known people over time that have had things like that going on that they don't own up to, because it's pretty embarrassing to say you dedicate 10 hours of your week to watching a reality TV show and then go around in life telling people how busy you are and I've never got time, because I don't know how important is this show. But that's just one example. I mean, in the past there was times in my life where I'd spend hours every evening in pubs watching shit football matches just to escape from the world and drink with people I hardly knew. But I wasn't straight up about what I was doing with my time. So when I'm honest with myself, that's not good use of time, is it? And thankfully I don't live that way anymore, and I get more things done in a day because I'm more efficient. But that was masking unhappiness. So for some people, TV shows and obsessing about that is hiding away from things. For some people it's the pub, for some people it's overtraining, for some people it's overeating, for some people it's codependency and relying on being in someone else's company the whole time. There's all these different things that I'm not the best skilled to coach you on that, but I know people if you want help on that. But all I know is that the gap in information that gets relayed between professional and client, the bigger that gap is, the bigger the risk of not getting to your goals. So you'll never get that gap completely closed, I wouldn't imagine, unless you really have worked with someone for that long that you're really that honest with them. But just keep the gap as small as possible. All right? If you're having trouble at home with your other half or the kids or whatever, and you don't want to tell your coach, you don't have to tell your coach at this point. But what you do need to do is make them realise that the time you've got available is totally honest. This is literally all I've got. And then your coach, if they're the right one, will make it work. Hope that makes sense. I want these to be useful. That's the first mind the gap. So mind the gap, time. Be honest about what time you've got with your coaches. And if you've got more time than you've told them, go back to them now and say, do you know what, I told you I only got 2 hours a week, I lied. I've actually got, well, not lied, I've fabricated. I've actually got more hours because I'm gonna cut down on X, Y, Z. So I'm gonna give more hours to this goal. And your coach will be the happiest coach you've ever had. They'll check with you that you can commit to it, and in between you, you'll smash your goals. Anyway, out of here.